Cirque du Freak.
All right, now this is the one with all the Euro trash trapeze artists.
It's Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant.
Oh, right. I knew what this
not
was. Okay.
Soleil. That's different.
All right, you guys sitting in front of me right here. No, it's
What, are you saying we're gymnastic freaks? Is that what you're saying?
I don't even want to think about what these two do gymnastically in their own time.
I don't do anything gymnastically. I
no,
get
you
up
just-
in the morning.
The League of Extremely Ordinary Gymnastics.
I think,
Jumps to conclusions.
yeah, I think you just blinked and that was your gymnastics for the day. Right?
I'm fucking tired.
You talking right now, just having to move your lips is gymnastics. But
I'd chime in, but I got a Charlie horse.
no, ow, ow. Yeah, you haven't been trained well. No, this is based on a series of book called the Vampire Blood Trilogy, and it's like 12 books.
That's a hell of a trilogy.
That's I know somebody can't count.
That's several trilogies, yes. Or you cannot speak.
Trilogy times 4. That's what this is.
Okay, am I going out on a limb here saying, like, enough with the vampires already? I mean, how many goddamn vampire books we
I
gotta
would
have?
say that, but it's like zombies. Every time you can do infinite things with vampires. Some
Right
of
when-
them suck, some of them are
And right when I'm about to give up, every time somebody else does something inventive with it.
And what is important about this is a family vampire movie. This is a series for families. It's a very family friendly story about a boy who gets turned into a vampire,
Or half vampire.
well, he gets turned into a half vampire in order to save his friend, and now lives in a world populated with strangelings and freaks and bizarre things of all nature. And it's the type of film that really appeals to both adults and kids.
Yeah, it deals with this kid named Darren Shan, who I think is also the author's name because the book is something like the saga of Darren Shan or something like that. I don't know. Darren Shan is a kid who he's average kid making good grades, but he's great student. Parents love him. They raised him well, and he's hanging out with this other kid named Steve, and Steve is just a little shit.
Hey, man, any guy named Steve is a Steve.
Steve, yeah, it's gonna be a douchebag asshole.
Yeah, Steve is Edward Furlong in Terminator 2, pretty much.
Yeah, no, Steve is a prick, but Steve has one good thing in his life, and that's Darren. And one night, the circus comes to town, and it's a really weird circus.
It's not even a circus; it's actually a freak show.
Yeah, it's a freak show.
And they find a ticket to the freak show and get invited to go see this bizarre freak show.
Yeah, the titular Cirque du Freak.
Yeah.
Is Tim Burton involved in this movie? Because he loves
No.
throwing circuses and freak shows.
Well, we will bring that up in a little while. So they go into the fetishes of Steve and Darren, which they like leather and fucking each other. No, they go into
What movie did you see?
Wow!
Did I walk into the same film?
Wow!
Same family vampire movie.
Isn't that something I usually say? What are you doing?
No, they walk.
Well, it involves 15-year-old boys, so that falls into Corey's
That's true.
court.
That's not my territory.
Damn, boys, this ranges every week. What am I going to be into next week?
Scroll
that's
for Cyrus.
Steve has this thing for vampires, and Darren has this thing for spiders. When they get to the freak show, there's a spider that comes out on stage amidst all the other things, like the snake boy, the woman who can grow limbs back, the wolf man. I mean,
the hunger artist.
What's the
Orlando Jones.
Orlando Jones, you might recognize as the 7-Up guy.
Yeah, right.
Nobody knows Orlando Jones, but he comes out there like, it's a 7-Up man. He ain't done a 7-Up commercial in years, but
that's all you really
But
get
yeah,
that's
they
worth
look
mentioning.
like genuine freaks, and nobody knows if this is special effects or what's going on, but it's the coolest freak show in the world. But when they bring out this little spider, Darren loses his shit. The townspeople come in on top of that and say, you guys are mistreating freaks and you got to get out of town.
Yeah.
In the middle of all that confusion, Darren takes a spider and has to own up to it later Darren has to take the spider back.
Well, because the spider gets away and bites his best friend, who they've already been told this is one of the most venomous spiders in the world. So it looks like his friend's going to die, right?
Oh yeah. It's like, man, there's a whole lot of...
Can you stick the walls or shoot your own web? Oh, you're going to die.
No, he
pretty
gets
much.
bit by a spider. It's like, no, you ain't Spider-Man. Far from it, motherfucker.
What's funny, the spider...
You dead man right now.
The spider looks like Spider-Man. It's like bright
doesn't it?
blue and red, and you're like, damn, man, I'd let that bite me. Come here. Fuck with that spider.
No,
Get
and
a
the
stick.
spider like has the personality of a dog, comes out dancing. Hey, everybody!
Well, they had a really...
Hello, my honey.
If you get bit by that spider, you should turn into like a gay Broadway dancer. When Darren goes in and hears to return the spider, he overhears actually that there's a truce going on between two factions of vampires. They decide to bring Darren in on it. I won't tell you how.
There's some sort of prophecy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not entirely clear. It feels like something that maybe came up later in the
And
other
Steve
books or
wants to be
something.
turned into a vampire, but they
Yeah.
think he's bad blood, and then you can figure out that later on this is going to come into play to pit these two friends against each other.
All right,
I want you to make me into a vampire. I mean, vampires, they don't take crap from anybody. They live by their own set of rules.
It's true. They do have their own rules. We wrote some of them.
Yes, and one of them is children can't become vampires.
Look, blood.
Blood! You see, Gavner? Blood. Look, if you become a vampire, you have to leave your friends and your family. It's deeply depressing. Trust me. Now get out of here.
This movie is made up of the first 2 books. Is that
it's across the first 3, I think, is what I heard. That it's like
Yeah, I wouldn't
bits
know.
all the way into the 3rd one.
Okay.
But I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But you know, I mean, it doesn't. At the end, even though you're like, okay, we were both going. I think that we'd like to see another movie from this. We'd like to see where it goes next. And yet, at the same time, it's a satisfying ending.
Good.
You're like,
That's the way
okay,
to do it.
that was fine. I like where that went. It's very surprising that it works as well as it does, because the element of it that's about the 2 friends, which, you know, I mean, one is joining the bad vampires, one's joining the good vampires, is boring, quite frankly. You're like, who gives a shit? We just want to see more freaks. We want to see more of the colorful cinematography and special effects. And most importantly, we want to see John C. Reilly, who kicks ass in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really great. In fact, I think the real charm of this movie is the time we spend at the Freak Show, which really borrows a lot from Todd Browning's Freaks, the classic vintage film, you know, from back in the late 20s, early 30s. Which is entirely about, you know, all these people who are freakish living together and being treated normally and having their own society. And that's exactly what this kid falls into, because now he's a half vampire. He's different, but now he's befriending people like the Snake Boy and a girl who has a mysterious, freaky nature, and all these weird people, and getting to know them as people. And so it's a film entirely about everybody being different and accepting that and coming to grips with what you are.
Oh, well, now that he's acclimated to the freaks, we got to get him signed up on Spill.
I'm pretty sure he has an account.
I will say this, Salma Hayek is the hottest bearded lady you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, Selma Hayek is the bearded lady, and if you look at that and you thinking, don't ever say you won't do a bearded woman, because she is hot. You do her.
You would do that. You would find a way to white that shit out in your brain. John C. Reilly is the foppish vampire in question, the whole reason he works is that dry humor. I mean, it's very dry wit. He's not the pretentious jackass vampire we've gotten used to lately. He's a guy who's lived for several hundred years, and he's not bitter, but he's a little cynical.
Wait, I'm sorry. Has there ever been a vampire who wasn't kind of a dick?
Yeah, well, and it's not that he's not kind of a dick. He is a little bit of a dick. He's just not a pretentious dick.
Yeah,
Well, okay.
That's the
Count
important
Chocula.
thing.
Hey, he's cool. let me ask you something. How great was it to see John C. Reilly in a role where he wasn't the fucking idiot?
Yeah, that's true. And he was definitely, like, in many ways, more so than the kid, who was kind of, you know, boring, really. He was really the protagonist of this film in many ways, because he's the most interesting
You talking about the
character in
lead
it.
kid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
kid-
lead kid is
yeah.
just, it's like Lucas Haas if you removed his soul.
Chris, wow. Yeah, no, his name is Chris Massoglia, something like. I've never heard of him before.
Well, that's because he was plucked out of
Yeah.
obscurity for this movie. He's literally some kid that left high school to make a movie for the first time.
Oh, really?
It's
So
his
he
first time
hasn't done
acting.
anything else
He's
before?
never done anything else before, and this is his gig. What it was he was the story he told was that he got tapped to be in this other film, and then that film fell through, and he heard that this was happening and read for this and got the role. So this is actually his very first film, and yeah, he isn't quite an actor yet.
And the other kid is Chris Hutchinson, I think.
Who you remember from-
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah, who you'll remember from Zathura as the
Yeah.
older brother.
Oh,
and-
yeah. That kid's
Yeah.
good. He's in the Journey to the Center of
So
the Earth.
Journey to the
Yes.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And he is
Bridges
good.
to Terror.
No, he's good.
He is good in this, and
Yeah,
I wish that on some ways it makes you wish that they had reversed the roles or something, because he doesn't have enough to do, and he's certainly more talented than the other kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also plays a jerk much better.
That's
He's done it in a couple of films, and he really does nail the jerky kid perfectly.
And this is directed by Paul Weitz, who,
American Pie.
American Pie, his brother Chris Weitz, American Pie.
Yeah, both of those guys are in Chuck and Buck.
Yeah, he did that Chris Rock movie Down to Earth, American Dreams. Yeah, they did a lot of stuff together. He's working on his own on this one, and it's cool because he took some notes from Tim Burton, not literally, but I mean he's definitely took like some inspiration from this, and he's done well with the freak parts. When they had the freak show going on and and you don't, when you go to like this secret hideout of all the freaks where they're camping out, I mean, you just see all these things in the background, and it's very Tim Burton-ish, and you see little creatures running by, and it's a lot of fun when you get to the freak part. The part I did not like was when they did get into the vampire parts. Even though I really liked who was the other
William Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe. Who's coming in and
He's
trying
got to play
yeah.
a vampire.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that guy's Nosferatu.
He comes in and plays it like Oil Can Harry or something. I mean,
Really?
yeah, but he's really cool in the role, and you like him a lot. He's not in the movie a whole lot, which is why they make some more films. It'll be cool to see him in a bigger role. What I guess thing I didn't like so much was the relationship between the two kids, because when they were together, I hate to say this, but they were very emotional. He just kind of like, it's like Steve is supposed to be so dickish and so tough, but he's like, how come your mom says you can't be my friend anymore? Yeah.
The rest of the film is so filled with color and it's so inventive. I mean, you're right. It's Tim Burtonish, except it doesn't feel like just generic lunchbox stuff like he's been doing lately. It's got its whole own thing going on, and it's very bright and it's very consistently funny. And the kids, every time they focus on their story, it just brings the whole movie down.
It just doesn't seem genuine. I mean, it seems like, you know what they seem like? They seem like actors.
Yeah.
They don't seem like real friends.
Yeah,
And the lines with those kids are really bad,
It
too.
just doesn't fit into everything else that's going on around them. Everything else is so lighthearted and fun, and they're just, wow, a bunch of kids in high school who are annoying and bratty.
But you know something that's really the strength of this movie overall, more than the freaks themselves and John C. Reilly, is that it's a PG-13 movie, but you can tell it's a movie that is meant for teens. And they don't try to talk down to teens or hold back on certain things. And when I say hold back, I'm talking about not only on language, because there's certain scenes where John C. Reilly is telling him about vampires. Whenever the kid says something that's stupid, he's like, hey, that's bullshit what you heard, okay? Yeah. But there's also like violent acts committed against kids, and they don't really hold back on it. And they know that kids can handle it, especially teenagers.
Because this isn't for real little kids. This is for like 13 and up.
Yeah.
And those kids can handle a lot. I mean, we're not talking decapitations and stuff here, but this is some darker, slightly darker content.
And it's dark and very funny in some scenes. I don't want to ruin anything, but they have some really funny, violent scenes in here, especially with John C. Reilly and that kid. I want to see more. I would just like them to actually make the lines a little bit better, the dialogue, and the characters a little bit stronger if they make a sequel. But as it stands right now, I don't think it was a great movie, but it was very fun to watch, and it was very entertaining, so I would give it a matinee.
I agree with Corey. It's not a great movie, but it's a really good movie. I would actually give it a full price. I think it's a really entertaining film. It's positively delightful. It's a movie that, despite its dark content and the strangeness of it, you walk out feeling good and walk out going, wow, that was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. What especially makes it is a lot of the bit actors. We've mentioned Orlando Jones. Also, now his name has left me. The kid from Almost Famous who plays the Snake Boy.
Oh, I know you're talking about Patrick Fugit.
Patrick Fugit. Oh, yeah. He's really great as the Snake Boy. The adorable tweener they get to play the love interest.
The monkey girl.
No, what makes this film work is all of these great characters that you really love. These great actors doing small roles, like Selma Hayek as the bearded lady. She's fantastic. Every time Willem Dafoe shows up, it's worthy of Willem Dafoe. And this film is a collection of all these great characters, and you really feel invested in the world. And even though the ending is very much a bum 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 cliffhanger ending, we'll be back, you still feel satisfied because you're invested enough to what's going on.
Yeah,
it ends in a cliffhanger?
No, not really.
Not a cliffhanger, but it's like you get this definite feeling like we haven't finished the story yet.
It feels like chapter 1, but it's not a cliffhanger. It's like, okay, it's come to a solid conclusion for this chapter of the tale, no question about it, much like a Harry Potter book would. No, this is you nailed it, Carlisle. This is all about the surroundings. It's all about all the amazing character actors and the stuff they do with them, and more importantly, it's about how fucking funny John C. Reilly is here. There are things I didn't like. Like I said, the main kid actor is kind of lame, and the relationship between him and the other kid is just kind of dull. But with everything else going on, you literally just don't care. You're like, yeah, whatever. You know, you kind of go, okay, get to the next thing. And they do so quickly that it's not really a problem. This is a full price movie.
You'll be able